Introducing Shop, Click, and Pick, the simplest way to support those doing good in communities everywhere. We understand that shopping is a necessity, but with a slight adjustment, you can make a huge difference without spending any extra money. Here's how it works. Please visit communitypayitforward.us and navigate to the Find Your Partners tab. Discover our verified giving partners, which are trusted allies ready to meet your needs. Shop with any of the partners that resonate with you. Click a picture of the receipt or invoice, then pick the mission partner you wish to support and use their QR code to send the receipt directly to us. After that, all you have to do is sit back and enjoy your purchases, knowing that you've made a meaningful change for someone in need. Community Pay It Forward amplifies your business's impact by sharing the story of those who require your services, rallying support for those who need us all. Because no one needs to go it alone when we all come together.
Born into a real fight wasn't right. Where can she dream here? Took a hold of her life, left at night.
Hey everybody, how's it going? I've got some great news here. So far, it's even kind of stormy in Greeley, and yet the internet is almost normal. So we're going to really hope, cross our fingers, that everything goes right. We are waiting for our special guest, Melissa. She is on her way back from Napa Valley. Imagine that, somebody who's doing wine at Napa Valley. I wonder why. Nah, I don't wonder why. I pretty much know why. But we have a very, very special show tonight because we've got two people I've had on the show before, two wonderful guests doing wonderful, wonderful things. We have Jen and John Lee from Differently Abled Entertainment and Dignify Dementia. They are both going to be the stars of the month, which means anytime that you make a purchase of One Hope Wine, you can support what they do. I will get right with them here in just a second. You did see in the promo that we have our wonderful guest, Jill E. Schultz. You can go and check out jilleschultz.com. She experienced trauma at a very, very young age. She experienced trauma at 3 years old. And with that trauma came some acting out. With that acting out, lightning and dogs. It's going to be a long show. But with that trauma, with that acting out, came some shame. Jilly Schultz can help you work through that shame. Just give her a visit, jilleschultz.com, or go to care@jilleschultz.com. Look, wonderful, wonderful person. And now both dogs are here. This is going to be one hell of a show, I'm telling you. I also want to thank Robert for sponsoring us, brand new sponsor. I was hoping to have a little spot for him, but I've been unable to get it done with Legacy Builders Foundation. Look, this guy went from, from a very, very athletic student to a teacher to wanting to become a school administrator to wanting to change the world to a Marine to now he's trying to help people make sure that they get their lives in order, and especially our teenagers, trying to make sure that they get the best of everything they possibly can with the Legacy Builders. There is so much going on with his program, and I will be premiering an interview with him on a special show coming up this Friday at 11 a.m. East. So that's 11 a.m. East. We got a special show with him this Friday because we are also helping another one of our dear friends from the Aziza Project. She has a Pampered Chef party going on this month. And as many of you know, and I struggle with this word and I always feel like an idiot every time I try to say it, but the Aziza Project is trying to help women with gynecological issues, very complex and rare gynecological issues, and is dealt with this. Okay, well, I thought we had Melissa here, but we just had one of our guests rejoin us. So, but please join her on her link. I will be sharing that link on the details of the show. So, that was a lot of stuff. If you would like to be a guest of the show, we invite you to please consider coming on, consider joining Robert and Jill and becoming a sponsor of our show. Scan the QR code. There you go. You can understand that when with a backward screen and not know which way you're doing. Anyway, scan the QR code and you can come on and tell your story, just like these two wonderful ladies are doing right now. First off, I would like to introduce to you, coming back to the show for the first time in a couple months, is John Lee from Differently Abled Entertainment. How are you doing, sweetie?
I'm doing good, thank you. How are you today?
I'm doing good, doing good. It's been a couple days since we got to see you. Your hair turned a different color.
It did. I went back to blue. I've had it blue before, although this is more like a darker, greener blue than what I had before, but I like it. I missed it. I missed I had it natural there for a little while for some film projects that I was a part of, where blue hair just, doesn't quite fit all scenarios. So, but yes, I'm back to blue.
But we're back to normal.
Yes.
Also joining us once again is Jen, the founder of Dignify Dementia, J.Desserich. How are you doing?
I'm doing really well, thank you. I'm glad to be done with COVID.
Yeah, we were going to have everybody together the first part of last month, and we were just having issues all over the place. And yeah, you got hit pretty hard with COVID the
I
end
did
of
indeed.
June into July, didn't you?
Yeah. Yep.
So, but you're feeling all better now?
I am. I'm feeling much better and very energized and excited to be here.
Well, that's great. I'm really glad that we've got you back here. So, Joni, let's start with you because you were, we've actually had Jen on a couple months ago, but I just to update people and to tell them again, what is differently abled entertainment?
So we work with marginalized groups to get better exposure in the entertainment industry. To like sum it up as sweet, short and sweet as I possibly can. But we work with a wide variety of different artists, both in in front of the scenes and behind the scenes. So both creators and actors and models, but from groups that don't have as much exposure as they should.
Okay. And what are some of the things that you help people to do? What are some of the projects that you can help people get attached to?
Yeah, we've helped models get their first publications because we help with photo shoots and different opportunities as far as that goes. We also have a lot of acting opportunities. We offer acting classes. We've been a part of a few different film projects. Um, we we do a few different theater productions every year. So, and we also do like music showcase events and artist vendor showcase events. And so we really try to have a little bit of something for everyone. And we're starting to try to we're going to be adding some more like virtual events also this next year, so that way people that aren't just right here in Tucson can still be a part of things.
One of the things that we talked about the last time that you were on is how they take people who have use of all of their get down, who are not differently abled, and they put them in to roles where there are talented people out there who have disabilities. They can fulfill those needs. It's kind of a laziness that they use. It's like, you know what, we're just going to put this person in a wheelchair instead of going out and actually finding somebody who is in a wheelchair. And what do we need to do as a general public to make them wake up and realize, hey, you guys are wrong, because there's nothing wrong with finding somebody new.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a lot of it. I mean, it comes down to, I mean, a lot of times producers are interested in their bottom dollar and who's going to put butts in seats. And so a lot of times they go with a known name that they know is going to put butts in seats because that's the bottom dollar. And I understand that to a certain extent, but I mean, we've all agreed for a long time that like things like, you know, people pretending to be another race that they are not is not really socially acceptable.
Yeah.
So in some movies there is a need, like if there's like a transition or something, like there are times when you're going to need an able-bodied person to play a disabled character. But there are a lot of missed opportunities for those roles that you see where somebody is just written as a disabled character, but yet the role is given to an able-bodied actor. That is something where I almost feel like, yeah, there needs to be more awareness, but just even like these discussions, that helps, because a lot of times people, especially when it comes to the disabled community, and there's a lot of stigma that goes along with it, where people automatically assume that people are not capable of performing a task because of said disability. And so that's something that I think a lot of people just aren't aware, because a lot of people have never met somebody or, you know, worked with somebody with a disability, and so they don't really understand. And so then that goes into the other aspect that we're trying to change, is because of that representation, we have this lack of knowledge and you know, an increased ignorance, because people don't see disabled people being represented in a light that shows them being capable of performing these tasks. So
Yeah, and you know, we talked about how Game of Thrones took somebody who was a relatively unknown. He had a few, you know, he had a few roles before, but took somebody who had a, you know, he wasn't a normal bodied individual, and he was able to take and drive that into becoming a superstar.
mhm.
I know from here in Colorado, we've got a comedian with Down syndrome named Josh Blue. Very, very funny guy. You know, there
Mhm.
are people out there that if you would find them, these are individuals that could, you know, do Hollywood a lot of good, or anybody. I don't, not just
Yeah.
Hollywood, but there are so many talented individuals out there if they would just get off their butt and look. But I understand what you're saying. You know, I mean, yes, somebody who is not discovered probably won't bring in the same vibe as a Samuel L. Jackson in a wheelchair.
Mhm.
But
But who's to say that that actor, if they were given an opportunity, might not be as good and then be able to build up their own following like Samuel L. Jackson? You know what I mean?
that's
Everybody's got to start somewhere. And even like actors like Morgan Freeman that didn't get their first acting role until I
yeah,
think he was like 52 or something. You know,
right.
I mean, he was, you know, not a young actor. And so, like, basically, I really think like anybody can have their time, you know, and the fact that the disabled community especially is just kind of overlooked entirely is something that I think, you know, it needs to change, and that just comes from people becoming more aware and thinking about it when they're writing stories and when they're writing scripts and when they're casting people. Like, even if a role isn't necessarily written for a disabled person, like, who's to say, like, if you have somebody audition, like, maybe think about it. Like, if you know, a person is you know, auditioning to be a receptionist in a film, like, if they don't have to run a marathon or do jumping jacks or do anything like that, like, why can't that role be given to an actor that is disabled? And so that's what, you know, I mean, because people think, oh, well, they got to write stories. It's like, no, you just have to treat the disabled community just like anybody else, because that's really all that we all are. We're just people just like everybody else. You
And
know, we have issues. We have to go about life differently, you know, pun intended.
yeah, and look, let's be honest here. Here in a couple of weeks, there's something coming on, the Olympics with people with disabilities. You know,
Mhm.
and I challenge anybody who thinks that people with disabilities can't do anything. I challenge any of them to go and watch that, because I'll guarantee you they'll change your mind real quick, because they end
Yeah.
up doing more than some of us who are full body able can ever do, you
Yeah.
know. So and you're talking about some people who are the smartest of smart people,
Mhm.
and you know, I mean, they've had to do things differently. They don't see it a lot of times as a disability, do they see it as, this is my life, this is what it is, you know. I mean, I
Yeah.
know I deal with my headaches every day. People say, "Wow, you have headaches every." Okay, yeah, but it's part of life. It's what I deal with. I mean,
Mhm.
yeah, there are certain days that I want to crawl under the desk and just cry, but there are other days that, you know what? This is life. This is what I've been dealt with. This is what I deal with, you know?
Yeah, that's what I tell people too. A lot of times, I hear it a lot. Well, I don't know how you do it, and it's like, well, I mean, I think I'd hopefully you would say the same to any, you know, woman in my position or person in my position, that's just trying to start their own thing. It's hard no matter what it is you have going on in life. And what I mean, and that's why when we, when with our differently abled, it's like that includes everybody in the world, not just those with a disability, because we all, no matter what your experience is, we all have to go about life differently. No matter if you have physical limitations or you don't, or mental limitations or you don't, or, whatever it could be, like, everybody has a different life experience. That's what makes the world a beautiful place, is that we have all these different experiences and perspectives. But a lot of times those experiences and perspectives are lost in the narrative, and that's where we have a lack of compassion and a lack of understanding and a lack of representation.
Yeah. Well, it's you are really one of the examples of a program where there are so many different nonprofits out there that people just don't even know exist. And yours was one of those that when we started talking, it was amazing to me, because this is something that in everyday life, I never really ever thought about it too much until, of course, I met you. And then I'm like going, damn, you're right. This is something that, could be done so much better. And so it was amazing when we first met. I love what you're doing.
Thank you.
And Jennifer, do you have any questions that you would like to ask?
Well, first of all, I love your logo. And
Thank you. I lost it. I don't know what happened to it. I think when I got bumped and came back, it went away.
Well, it's beautiful. And I am just in awe of what you do. And I think that is incredibly helpful and a very worthwhile cause. And I really liked what you said about we're all just people, and having compassion, because compassion is something that you think is innate in people, and sometimes that's not the case. Compassion needs to be learned through kindness, through education, through all of these different things. And I think that's a really great message that you're putting out there.
Thank you for that. And and I really, we are still new there. We are still, people don't know who we are, even here in Tucson, and I have dreams to have chapters in other cities and stuff like that. Like, I would really like to see this organization grow into something pretty incredible. But we all start small, but I do feel like there are other organizations that are kind of doing some of the things that I'm doing as far as what they're trying to do, but they're a little more nichier, I guess. Like, they're very specific as far as like which disability they're working with or what group of people they're working with. And I really feel like I'm kind of the lone wolf in what it is that I'm exactly trying to do. And so, and I'm proud of that, but at the same time, it makes it kind of, a little more challenging, because I really am like the first one to be doing what I'm trying to do. And so it has a challenge.
You're right. It is. And that's one of the things that I am the most proud of is, yeah, there are other organizations out there that do what we do, but you know what? They don't get to meet the people like you guys, because we work directly with you. And so I win because I get to meet, you wonderful ladies. I get to actually be part of what you're doing. And I love being able to be a voice and just spreading the word about what you guys do. What are some of the things that you've been able to really, like, what are victories that you've had before?
With the organization?
Yeah.
I think like one of the things that I'm most proud of is a lot of our photo shoots that we've done, and we've published, we've helped almost probably 40 models. I say 30, but it's probably close to 40 models that, we help them get their first publications in various magazines, internationally. And so as an actor or a model, like having those publications on your resume, it just shows that you're marketable. And so helping people get that little that boost, that start, like to know, like if like some of their things, a lot of our events right now, you're going through the we have everything is kind of in a revamp mode right now, so a lot of things are kind of lacking on the website, but that's a work in progress. But we have a lot more going on than what it shows right now.
Well, you know what?
But
When
it's a work in progress, and we're growing and learning and just kind of as I go. But yeah, I would say the number of models that we've helped is one of my big things that I'm proud of. The other some of the music videos that we've helped. There was one band in particular that I was kind of managing on the side, and then also helping through the organization. And through the extra things that we were able to get on their resume and put in their toolbox, their promotional toolbox, like a couple music videos and a lot of promotional photo shoot type stuff. They ended up landing a lot of interviews and doing a lot of things, and ended up with a record contract and all kinds of things. And now I'm not taking credit for the record contract, I mean, entirely, but because obviously their talent did that for them. You know what I mean? They're a very talented artist, they're a talented musician, songwriter. That's what got them that. But exposure gets you those opportunities to where then your talent does the rest of the work. And I feel like I helped with that exposure part of things that got them the chance, the opportunity, that let their talent be seen. Okay. I didn't get them, like I said, I'm not going to, say that, oh, it's because of me that they got a record contract. Cause no, like their talent did that. But us helping fill their their promotional toolbox with things that were actually helpful, I think, helped get them that. And so that's,
Yeah.
one of the things I'm really proud of too.
We actually have somebody who is on who has joined us for a minute. She is in the paranormal world, but she's working on a project. She's working on a second televised type project that they're going through. So, hey, Susan, I know I probably wasn't supposed to say anything, but it's not like we get to talk a lot anyway. And you put it out on on Facebook, so I'm going to talk about it. But really good friend of mine. They're doing something, but I think that there are enough small projects out there now that there is really no reason why somebody should not be, going out and finding the people who can benefit and from these roles, and actually turn these roles into something that they can own. And I think that this is really, I really do love what you're doing. So, I want to tell this Raiders mama, look, if there's anything that we can do, I am so sorry about your plight. 17 months in the NICU, that's not a joke. And we really hope that your son is doing well. Please let us know what we can do to help. So that's a very, very sad story. But yeah, so what we all know that money's key. Okay, we all know that we're here tonight to try to raise money for you. But what are some other things that people can do to help support differently abled entertainment?
I really need volunteers for all kinds of like the back office type stuff within the organization. And so a lot of that can be done virtually. Like I said, and we are trying to add more virtual events. And so, yeah, volunteering to help, even like I said, I'm in the process of revamping our website. I do that. Like, if anybody wants to help with that, just little things. And I mean, and yeah, it's time, and it's, a lot of that comes to like time and brain power. Like if anybody wants to let me, mooch off of their brain a little bit, that's very, very helpful.
Yeah, yeah. And how do people go about getting a hold of you if they would like to volunteer?
You can email at the email that you have posted below, or I'm on a good way to reach out to us. We're on all the social medias. The one that I use the most though is Facebook. For the organization and myself, I'm pretty easy to track down on there. And so, yeah, either email me directly or reach out to me on any of the social media networks. And yeah, I mean, even if you're not wanting to volunteer, I just like to know that if you think that this is valuable, you know what I mean? And I don't mean valuable in the money sense. I mean worthy, you know? Just
Well,
a little cheers of like, hey, keep doing what you're doing. This is great. That is helpful. Just like those, little words of encouragement, a little like, share, comment that helps other people know about us. Like there's a
well,
lot of ways that like help without like needing to necessarily cost anything or require any work.
apparently Zephyr really wants you to know that what you're doing is invaluable. I mean, you couldn't be working any harder and doing, you know, any better for the people who need you there. And the other thing that you're doing is you're really allowing people to understand that this is something that, look, this is an issue out there that we need to worry about. So I I love what you're doing. I love you. I respect everything that you're doing. And that's the reason why we are so proud to be connected with you. And anytime that you use the QR code that you see there in the corner, that is the QR code for differently abled entertainment. Use that. And if you make any purchases with any of those partners, differently abled entertainment will get 75% of the referral that I get when you use those businesses. They're also, when you go and if you visit their page on our website, which has been redone now a little bit, we had to take and change things up. You can still get all of the information by scanning right here. It brings up all of their information. But if you go and to this longer gold bar here, it takes you straight to their website. And this is where you can contact them to make a cash donation. We do not accept cash donations for any of the nonprofits that we work with. Okay. They deal with their own money. We only want the receipts that you get for shopping with our wonderful partners. So contact them. You can make a cash donation and you can help them out in that fashion. But just go here to the gold bar and say, you know what? I want to help them. I want to help you by making a cash donation. Go to that gold bar and it'll take you straight to their contact page. You can contact Jonni. You can help them out. But please make sure, do something good today. Reach out to her. Let her know that, you know what? You're doing more than a good job. You're doing a great job. And this is something that I understand what you're going through, and sometimes it's hard to do. But please just remember, if you need somebody to tell you how much they love what you're doing, you can always call us.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate all the support, from everybody. And yeah, donations are always very much appreciated and needed.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna be here. Here you go. From our friend Raiders Mama. You guys rock. Keep it up. So,
Thank you, Raiders Mama.
and
My mama is a Raiders fan, so that works.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. So he's doing great. That's good. Our goal is to help him start eating. You know what? Raiders Mama, do me a favor and send me contact me on Facebook, which is or contact us on Facebook. Just go to Community Pay It Forward. We have a lady that deals with shaken babies, and I know it's not the same thing here, but she's had to deal with the NICU and the feeding tubes and everything else. She can really be a great person to talk to and help you and help Andrew possibly get this mission and get the feeding tube going and get everything going, get it into his throat. And yeah, the G tube, she can really help you out. I know that she'd be willing to talk to you. So please contact us on Facebook, Community Pay It Forward. Just send me a direct message and I will introduce you to Julie. So, but thank you so much. And look, to little Andrew, keep fighting, little guy. Don't let anyone ever tell you you can't do nothing. So don't ever let anybody tell you you can't do it. So thank you, Joni. But please stick around, and I'd love for you to hear about what Jennifer's got going on. Jennifer, how are you doing, sweetheart?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
So we got a lot of stuff going on here today. This is actually kind of nice. And unfortunately, it does not look like Melissa's going to be able to jump on, but we will have the wine QR codes. I will have them done by the end of the night, and we'll be sharing those with you all. Of course, until then, please use the QR code that you see above right now, which is the differently abled QR code, but we will get Jennifer's up here in a minute. Jennifer, you guys just had an event.
We did.
Was very successful.
We did. We had our, we called it Jim's Journey 2024, which was the first annual fundraiser for Dignify Dementia. And we had it on my father's birthday to honor him in spirit as he just passed in February. And this was our first big attempt at a in-person live fundraiser. And we were very, very successful. We had over 45 guests. We had we auctioned off 23 items, I believe, and including the Denver Nuggets tickets, a signed Jokic jersey from the Nuggets, and we had lots of wonderful sponsors, and we raised about $5,000 for our cause.
I love hearing that. I love hearing that. I loved what you guys did in the event. Your father was a huge fan of cribbage.
Yes.
And so what you guys did was teach people how to play cribbage.
We did.
Which, I think that is so cool that you were teaching people how to do something that your father loved to do. Yes. My kids will have it lucky if I pass, because then they're just going to have to teach people how to watch hockey and talk a lot. That's what my kids are going to have to do. So, but yeah. So what did people say to you during your event?
Oh, so many things. It was very emotional, being that it was his first birthday that we haven't celebrated with him. a lot of people told me that they could feel my dad was there. And the weather was amazing. We'd had like 300-degree days in a row, and we had like 84-degree weather. We had a cornhole tournament, and like you said, cribbage lessons, and people played cribbage. And people were just, they were sort of amazed by our mission and what Dignify Dementia, or what we're trying to do at Dignify Dementia. A lot of people from the community that I live in came and hadn't heard of Dignify Dementia, just got the advertising somewhere, and decided to come. And a lot of people shared their own stories with me, their own stories of dealing with a loved one with dementia. And that is one of my favorite parts about what I get to do, is to have people trust me enough to tell me their stories, because caregiving is a terribly difficult job. It is not something we were born knowing how to do, yet we are just sort of expected to know how to do it, because there's statistics that estimate that 70% of caregiving is done at home by unpaid family members.
Yep.
And so that's a really big deal, especially with our aging population. And we need more awareness, we need more advocacy, and we just need more help and ways for people with dementia to have some dignity as they go through that journey. And I was overwhelmed with emotion and all the positive feedback that I got from people at the fundraiser, and so many similar stories of losing a loved one to a dementia-related illness, fights in families. I mean, it's very difficult, and yeah, it was just an honor and a pleasure to have been able to do that event and to have it be so successful.
Just earlier, actually it was last week, we brought on a new mission partner that watched your show, Jennifer, from last month. And he's got a program in New Jersey where it's called Safely Back Home. And I was talking to you a little bit about it before. And what they do is they create these patches to go on the arms of people who are not only dealing with dementia, but we're also talking about kids with the autism, or kids, just generalized memory or issues, behavioral issues that sometimes people wander off. So I'm going to be introducing him to you. All I know is that he told me that he could not believe the great work that you were trying to do. And he lost his dad a while back. And he said, for you to be doing this, the same year that your father passed, was just, it touched him, because he wanted to pull the trigger, but he needed time. And I know that, again, like I was telling Joni, what you're doing is so important, and I love being a small part. Joni, she said something that I think would really matter to you as well, because you know people who the caregivers or the parents, the caregivers are the grandmas or something like that, because there's just, look, they're family members of people who need help.
Mhm. Yeah, no, I commend you for what you're doing. I think it's really beautiful. Um, my grandmother passed away from dementia a few years ago, and it was a very hard struggle. And it was during the COVID epidemic. And so it was like, the whole isolation thing.
Oh,
And it just, her not being able to see us at all for those few months, like she just deteriorated very, very quickly.
yeah.
And it was really hard for us, because yeah, we got to go in and say our final goodbyes, but it had been like the first time that I'd seen her for 6 months because of the isolation of COVID.
Yeah.
And so it was hard. And I mean, it had been hard anyway, like the journey of, of what it means to have, a family member with dementia, and some of those ups and downs that you experience. I'm not going to get into any of my personal stuff because it's not about me, but I just, and yeah, for you to be doing this the same year that, you just lost your father, um, I definitely, I commend you. I think it's beautiful what you're doing, and it's very, it's very needed,
Thank
so.
you. Yeah, I do this because of my father, because when he was diagnosed with Lewy body dementia in 2018, second or third question out of his mouth was, okay, well, how do we help other people like me? And I said, well, let's go about helping you first and figuring out how this works with our family. And then I promise you, I will find a way to help other people like you and other families like ours. And so that is what I did. And I started this nonprofit almost 2 years ago. And he got to hear a couple of radio shows that I did, um, in different places in the country, and he wasn't able to pay that close of attention to a lot of things, but he listened to a broadcast of mine that was about 52 minutes, and I was watching his face the whole time because I don't I did not like talking about him like he wasn't there, or talking about him like he couldn't understand.
Mhm.
Um, and and part of this radio show was about our journey and some very personal things that we went through. And at the end of the thing, I mean, I'm watching his face the whole time and I'm like, oh my God, he hates it. Oh my God, he feels embarrassed. Oh my God, and I'm, the sky is falling. And at the end, when it was all done, he turned to me and he goes, wow, you did all that for me? And I said, well, yes, for you and for all the other people out there like you and like us who need help and who need to know that they are not alone in this struggle and this journey, um, to make connections, to help people heal. And I see, thank you for putting that up, Zach.
Yeah.
The sources, part of part of Dignified Dementia is this toolkit that I created for my dad. That there are three components that he used every day up until about 2 weeks before he passed, and these components were researched by me. That's my formal education training, is public health research and neurology, and I had learned a lot just going through this journey. And so he was a guy who would write in a day planner every day. And that was something that helped him feel like he had a sense of control over his day. And when we got a second opinion from another doctor for his diagnosis, they said, well, it'll be good if you start a wellness journal. And I journal all the time, and I had never heard of a wellness journal. And so I went on Amazon like everybody would, and I ordered 3 different ones and tried to work with them with my dad. And he didn't understand any of them. There were specific parts that were just too confusing. And so I thought, well, we need more color and we need pictures, because especially if you have someone that you're caring for who's nonverbal, pictures are a very big deal. So I combined what I knew about neurology and dementia with a little bit of early childhood education and created this wellness journal for him that we would actually take to his doctor's appointments, so they could see, when was the last time he took a shower, for example, or when was the last time before he became immobile, how much activity was he getting? Did he walk the dog? How much water was he taking in? Because hydration is
Yes.
a huge thing for, for all of us, but for dementia patients especially. Getting dehydrated is a very big complication to that condition. And you'll notice if your loved one gets dehydrated for whatever reason, most often it's a urinary tract infection, you'll notice that there is a steep cognitive decline with that infection. And some of it can be improved once they are hydrated and the infection clears up. But I created these resources for him, and they are not a one size fits all. They're not going to work for every single person who has dementia. When he was first diagnosed, he did all this stuff by himself. But then as he declined, my mom and I were his primary caregivers at home, and we would do them with him, because they focus on a lot of things that you lose as your brain atrophies with any kind of dementia, whether it's Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, Lewy body, fine motor skills, reading and visual attention and understanding. And it really just helped him. He used to say it helped him keep the crazy out, because he used to refer to his disease as he was a nut job, which he was not a nut job, but a lot of things in his head made him feel that way. And I took my job very seriously as a caregiver to help him feel comfort and dignity each day. And I take that seriously, to help others and help other families.
Well, I know one of the other things, and especially with like the wellness journal, and this could even be something for our one of our viewers, when it's going and talking about your son, writing down what a doctor says is so much better than trying to remember when you go in to talk to a doctor. And especially if you're in a situation where you're dealing with multiple different doctors, if you can take and write down, this doctor said this on this day, there can be a more open communication between doctors, and things will not be missed. It's very important to have these journals. It's very important, especially for someone who is, having difficulty or of any kind. Journaling is so important. Just remembering everything, trying to remember everything, and like you said, with the nutrition, that's so important, because if you're not fueling your body properly, and I should not be talking about fueling my body properly. My body's fueled by donuts and ice cream, so and a lot of diet soda.
I'm
But
gonna throw a
I
vegetable
gotta
in there
drink the
somewhere.
diet soda to watch my girlish figure, though. So I mean, go on.
It counteracts the donuts.
Right, there we go. So, but it is so important. Jennifer, how do people get a hold of you?
Well, the email that you have right across the screen, J.Desserich at dignifydementia.org, is a great way to get a hold of me. We're on Facebook and Instagram, and just look for Dignify Dementia. Or you can certainly call me at 720-663-7635. And a thing that just happened, I went to a networking event for nonprofits, and I met a gentleman at this event whose family just got their dementia diagnosis. And he goes, I don't know if you believe in, he goes, whatever you believe in, I respect. But if you believe in fate or destiny or whatever, he's like, I was supposed to meet you today because my family needs help. And this was just a week ago. I have talked to his family. I have given them a very detailed package of resources that's specific to the area that they're in Ohio, because I'm located in Denver. But again, research is my background, and resources are what I do. And I've really made an impact just on this one family, trying to figure out their way. And it's so rewarding for me to be able to get to do that, and to help families navigate a way through. Because like I said, people feel all different things when this happens. People don't want to be caregivers necessarily, or don't feel that they can be. And everybody has expectations that might even be unknown to them. But, I would say an expectation that an adult child might have of an ailing parent is that if the spouse is still alive, they're going to be the caregiver. Well, what if that can't be the case? Or what does caregiving mean to that person? And how do you support that person? And how do you come together as a family rather than, break up and fight and have things be so much worse than they already are? And everybody's story is just so meaningful and impactful. And getting to hear that and to work with people like that is my favorite thing.
Well, and making sure that people understand that you're here to talk to them. It's one of the reasons why I love that we started this together, is because we need people to hear your stories. We need people to understand that, yeah, you are in a business that needs money, but your most important thing is to be there when somebody needs to be listened to. So, Joni, how do people get a hold of you one more time?
Through our website or my email. Facebook is a really good way to get a hold of me also.
And your Facebook, is it the Our DE?
It's Differently Abled Entertainment. It's the whole
Okay.
big long thing. We shortened it for the website. We couldn't just get DAE.org, so ourdae.org. But yeah, if you search the whole Differently Abled Entertainment, or you can look up me, Jonni. If you look up Jonni, Jonni, I'm usually one of the first ones to pop up because there aren't a lot of us out there.
And one of the best ways to find their Facebook page or all their other is just go to the website, and it's going to be attached to their social media section. So, Jonni, we will be talking again to you in 2 weeks. Thank you one more time. If you scan the QR code right here, any purchases you make with any of our partners results in a donation to Jonni and differently-abled.com, Differently Abled Entertainment. So just make sure that if you're looking for anything, check with our website first and see if any of our partners can satisfy your shopping needs. If one of our partners can help you, then a donation will be made to this group. If you want to support Differently Abled and you need to make another purchase, think about doing it with Dignify Dementia. So you can make 2 purchases, mean so much more. This is the QR code for Dignify Dementia. Jennifer, how do people get a hold of you?
Definitely our website is a great way. It's dignifydementia.org. And you can email me at J.Desserich at dignifydementia.org. We are on Facebook and Instagram, and we're branching out to LinkedIn. But it's all of those are good ways to reach out to me, and you can certainly just call me at 720-663-7635.
Well, ladies, I appreciate this. I love talking to both of you. So we will have, I will have on the website and everywhere tomorrow, I will have the QR codes for the One Hope wine. Melissa ended up getting caught in traffic, so and she's in LA, so it's not like you can be on your cell phone in traffic.
No.
So, but we will get the QR codes for the One Hope wine anytime that you make a purchase of One Hope wine throughout this month. Think about scanning one of the 2 QR codes and supporting them. They are also now going to be a permanent partner with One Hope Wine. One Hope Wine is a wonderful, wonderful company that every bottle you buy, 10% goes to a nonprofit that you care about, and 10% stays with their 4 pillars, which, and I'm going to screw this up, but it's hunger, clean water, clothing, and there's another pillar, and I'm sorry I screwed it up, but they really care about the kids and trying to help the kids. Go to onehopewine.com and check them out. You can always check with Melly Winehouse, who is our representative, and just go email her at mellywinehouse_onehope@outlook.com, and you can talk to her. If you have a nonprofit, get a hold of Melly and Melissa. Calling her Melly, I feel guilty calling her that, in which that's her name. That's what she likes being called. But it's kind of one of those things. I feel like the bully kid calling her that. You are driving me crazy, dog. But she really wants to say something to one of you two. But get a hold of her, and you can also be part of One Hope Wines. ladies, we will be talking to you again in 2 weeks from tonight. We'll be doing our halfway show. We'll have everything set up by then. But I want to thank you so very much for joining with us and for giving us an update on everything that you're doing.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. This was great, and this was a great to meet you, Jen. I would love to connect with you more. This is just, yeah, thank you so much, Zach.
I will make sure that the after email, the email with this show, that you two have the connection to each other. So
Great.
I'm already planning on stalking her on social media here.
That sounds great. Hey, everybody, we are going to be launching a new program with a really good friend of mine, focusing on women business owners and women nonprofits. Esther has been a really good friend of ours and a great support system for us. And we recorded an interview earlier this week, and I'm going to be playing that interview in just a moment. Again, ladies, thank you so very much for joining us, and I look forward to working with you more.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure meeting you, Jonni. And keep up the good work.
Once again, this is, look, I love doing this because I love to hear these stories. I love the stories of the small nonprofits. I love the stories of small business. And I love being a part of what they are doing. And I'm hoping someday that we get to help them launch these nationwide things, small nonprofits. The one thing that is so wonderful about them is that they work just as hard, if not harder, than the big ones. Look, the big guys, they have people who are set to do their social media or to do these silly little podcast shows that, they're busy people. Well, so are the small ones. The small ones, they're the only ones doing this. Yeah, they have help with their families, but they need your help. So please, if you would like to volunteer, if you would like to donate, reach out to them. Use the Community Pay It Forward program to help them. It's a very simple thing. We just ask you to shop with them. And when you shop with them, our partners are going to be the ones that give the donation for you. So very, very simple process. We don't charge. Again, you don't have to join my cult or anything like that. There's no monthly charge. There's none of that. You just simply shop with our partners. And when you shop with our partners, they get a portion of the purchase. So again, thank you to Jonni. Thank you to Jennifer. I love you both. And I'm always here if you guys need me. Now, I am proud to reintroduce. Actually, this is the first time she's ever been on this show. She's been a friend of mine for a long time, but I just realized this is the first time she's been on. And I'm working with her to where we can focus on women in business. This is a great friend of mine, Esther Deutsch. I hope you enjoy this, and I'll be back in a little bit. If you have any questions, please do leave a message, and we will get your questions answered. So this is Esther Deutsch with me, and I hope you enjoy this segment. If you are a professional woman, you would like to talk about some of the struggles, some of the great things that you've went through, all you have to do is contact us. Use the QR code that will appear in the corner of this segment, and you can tell us about you, and we would love to have you on as a guest. This is thrilling to me because this young lady I met about 1.5 years ago, and she has done nothing but support and introduce us to so many of our great friends. I mean, I can't tell you how many people we've had on this show because of meeting Esther, and it how many new partners and mission partners we have because of introductions. And I am proud to announce right here today with Esther that we're going to start a new program. And I'd like to introduce everyone to Esther Deutsch. How are you doing, sweetie?
Hey, Zach. So nice to be here, and thanks for the kind words. I'm happy to help with this amazing mission. Very honored to be here.
You know, you are uh, there's you and Mr. Z when it comes to networking, and then everyone else. Okay, you two are. You know, there are people out there who are just blast themselves out all over the world on master connectors, but it's truly you two that are the creme de la creme, and I am lucky enough to have both of you guys as allies.
Well, I feel the
What
same, and Mr. Z is definitely, I would agree, is a wondrous person, not just connector. Yes, both.
Yeah, I mean, like I said,
I'm a
when
big fan.
yeah, it's actually kind of funny. When right before my accident, I was hanging out with two wonderful ladies. One who has unfortunately passed, but you couldn't go anywhere in northern Colorado with either of these ladies without at least half of the people knowing them. So you were known because you were with them, and it was you could go to a place where there were like two other people. That was it. And at least one of them knew one of the two girls that you were with. And it was like, wow, this is
That's awesome.
insane. So, Esther, you and I started talking, and I approached you about doing something I have wanted to do for a long time. And this is because I have that uh, inquisitive mind, and I want to understand business from a woman's mindset, and I want to bring out all the nuances and some of the great things that happen when with business opportunities owned by females. And I couldn't think of anybody more deserving of this partnership than you, because like I said, you do know so many people. You are um heavily involved in the business world with women. I know that you've even got other business networking that's exclusively for women, that you're associated with. What, other than just being a woman, what do you see as the biggest opportunity with other women in business?
Oh, that's a great question. So I think for me, growing up, I always had this like misconception or was kind of taught that, corporate is cutthroat and that you got to like push to get ahead. And something inside of me from a young age was like, this can't be true or it doesn't need to be true. And I always believed in, collaboration and working together in general, but especially for women, I think, prior to working in corporate, I was a skeptic. That's what I always say. I was like not one of those preaching, that yeah, that women can't get ahead and they have disadvantages, et cetera, and imposter syndrome. A lot of the terms that you hear nowadays, I was actually a skeptic. And then, kind of coincidentally, of course, not. I don't believe in coincidence, but at the time it felt that way. I ended up working in tech in corporate, but I was going to school for social work. And people would always ask me, "What's a social worker doing in tech?" And it didn't take me very long to realize that so much of what I was pushing away, and I was working hard to prove these theories and what people were saying wrong. And I quickly realized with some stories and stuff, which I'm sure we'll get into at some point, the some of the challenges for women in tech, but also so many of the opportunities that were there for women. And I will say that I've been so pleasantly surprised. I always say there's not many of us in the industry, but the women that I meet are such forces. And it's one of the reasons I love being in what I call a channel, and I've met so many amazing people like yourself. And I think that I used to say it's changing. I think it's changed. I think that collaboration, community, working together, and case in point, and Mr. Z and so many others, both men and women, and the awareness that's come to women in tech and some of the challenges that we do face, which are very real. I will say that I've experienced firsthand, are very real, but are also I see them as like growth points, and we've come so far. Like I can already say that I've been in the tech industry now for over 10 years, close to 12, and it's just a different world in all the best of ways. And I won't say that we moved ahead as a society in all ways in this area, but I think women in tech has really sort of broken forth. And I think part of the reason for that, and hopefully this is actually answering your question, but I think part of the reason for that is people are seeing not just the effects on on our lives and how much better people it's making us and how much happier we are, but also the financial benefits of
Yeah.
elevating women and having that diverse team. And I always say, I'm all about women in tech, but really for me, it's about diversity and just bringing different voices to the table, whether it's with people with disabilities, or I say other abilities, or inclusion in general. Like that's what I'm really passionate about, and whether it's women or another way. And it's part of the reason I think that I've been able to be such a connector, and it's something I recommend to people. It's because I don't see people as single-minded or like, what do you do? And then decide if I want to connect with them. I think that everybody has a message and vision and voice, and it's just figuring out how to like leverage that and combine those forces, because I think some of the best collaborations, and again, you and I are like perfect example of this, come from different, not the same, because you get that diverse perspective. I think it's so important and necessary for us to move forward as people in society. And so the world is waking up to that, and they're seeing the financial benefits. So even if you talk money, which in corporate is often the case, which I think is absolutely wonderful because you need money, right? We all know that.
Yeah.
And we'll talk
Yeah.
about
Oh,
that too,
yeah.
and how people
Yeah.
can help with money as well and help us bring this mission. But if you could find that intersection between the two, then I think it's like magic, and you see it happening in the world. So it's like I love it. It's like making me happy. So
Well, I want to ask you this question, and this question has kind of been biting back at me a little bit because I was listening to another friend's podcast, and they had an expert on there that was talking about the the disparaging, the differences between men and women in the workplace. And my question to her was, then why don't we take out the question of man or woman? Why don't we just leave that out? And she snapped at me and she told me that just proves I don't understand what's going on. And I'm confused by that, because when I go to hire somebody, Esther, I don't care if it's a man or a woman. I want the best person for the job. Is my thinking flawed there? And if it is, I would love to know, because I don't understand why, if it doesn't make a difference if it's a man or woman, why do we need that question answered?
this is like such a great question, and something that I struggle with myself, because like I feel this way, for example, with president. People are like first female president, and I'm a woman, and I'm like, I don't really care.
Yeah.
Sorry, but I just don't. Like, if they are a great president, I think that's awesome, and they happen to be a woman. But I mean, this person's running our country. Does gender, really matter? And it's like a horrible thing to say, but also I understand exactly what you're saying. I think, I think we could have that perspective again. It's something that I face, so I think about this a lot, and also understand that there's certain like challenges that by default come just like for someone's race, or like me being Jewish and female. Like there's just certain things that come along with, or that can come along with, that are challenges. And so I feel like it doesn't mean that one negates the other. Like when you're hiring somebody for a role, I agree. Like they should pick the best person for the role. If they happen to be female, great. If they happen to be not, they happen to be something else, wonderful. Like, but I also think that maybe the person, there was some like emotional connection to the fact that they have certain experiences because they're female. And I also think there's certain biases that are just there by default, because like, meaning we can't even, they just happen without us consciously making a decision or something. So I think just being aware of that, and that certain biases might make you lean towards a certain gender or not. And it could be leaning towards women, which I think is also funny that people are always like, I think some people are like, oh, they need a chance, or whatever the bias is. But I always say too that I don't think that we need to push it away. Like that's part of some of my struggle too with all the diversity and inclusion out there. Like I never understood the movement to make people be more similar, even if it wasn't stated that way. I think sometimes there's this like, we need to be more the same, or like kind of push away who we are. I'm like, no, we need to like emphasize that people are different, and that's the point. We want everyone's differences at the table. Like we want representation, and then we want to work together to like use those experiences to bring out the best, ultimate goal. But I agree with you. I think that's part of the sort of struggle and issue with the whole diversity and inclusion thing, where I felt often that I was at a disadvantage because let's say I was white, for example, and I'm going to go to race, but like it's a big topic, but like I think that, sometimes we could push so hard in a certain direction that we then it's like missing the point almost. So I think there's a fine line. I don't know that we will ever, it's hard to walk that middle line. I think that's why also people run away from it because it's such a challenge and that you always kind of excluding somebody in some way, shape, or form. So I don't know if there's a really good, I think it's a great question. I think we should ask others that too.
Yeah, we will
But I get
definitely
it.
ask others that.
I
I
get
think that
it. Yeah.
I think that the one thing that we could possibly do, and give me your opinion on this if you will, I think that could be like an options box. Hey, if you want to tell me what, male, female, other, if you want to tell me, if you want to tell me your race, that's fine. I think, and this is going to sound a little weird, and at first I didn't think it was important, but when you brought up that you're also Jewish, that is actually an important thing to know because of religious holidays. So that is kind of, I need to know if there's a religious holiday coming up that Esther's going to need this time off. I need to expect that, and I need to respect that and be able to do that. But so that's kind of one that I think that we, that isn't out there, that I think is kind of funny, because that's one that actually talks about something that would involve work. In my mind, that would involve work, that work revolving around someone's life, and we don't get that question. I mean, it's kind of funny that we treat the Christmas holiday like it's like everybody
A
celebrates it.
holiday.
Right,
Yeah. No, it's a
but
very good
not
point.
everybody does.
But see, and that's the point. Like you make such a good point. I think it's another thing we need to work harder, I think, to teach is just not making assumptions, being curious, asking questions. Like I think we're so much better off pushing that as our agenda, and like it'll lead to the diversity and inclusion than, some of the like focusing on the diversity part. You know what I mean? I think we get lost in the deep, like what you're saying, because also assuming that, let's say, Jewish people keep a holiday, or some people are Jewish and keep Christian holiday because they have, I don't know, Christian spouse or whatever. Like it's such a good point, like asking what are your needs. And some people have invisible, disabilities. So July was disability inclusion month, and I was just
Mhm.
reading like one of these like reminders, not all, and people shouldn't have to explain their differences. I'm actually, so here at Net at Work, I work in a very corporate company, and there's such an amazing culture, and I've been blessed to have this across all my corporate experience, only positive, like beautiful experiences, totally not cutthroat, the opposite. But recently on a call, we have a diversity and inclusion board that I'm part of. It's like a nomination, etc. And the goal is to bring more awareness and inclusion into the organization. And on one of our calls, one of my colleagues spoke about how the disability that he has is invisible. And he said, like, so many times, I think, I don't want to misquote him, but he had some kind of hearing loss, and people are like, well, why can't you hear me? Like yelling at him, like not understanding that it's simply, a disability that he has. And just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not there. And we don't ask people to explain their autism. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, why do you need to like pry into, if somebody tells you that they have a certain situation, like believe them, you know what I mean? So if they're kind enough to let not everyone even is going to tell you, but I think asking is step one,
Yeah.
caring and asking, so
You know,
excellent point.
yeah, I think that asking questions, but respecting people's opinions, I think that is so, it's lost, one, and I think it's really important. One of the things that I struggle with is talking on the phone, because I'm deaf in my right ear. And when I cover up my left ear, I get panicked because I don't know what's going on around me. So if I have to hold the phone up to this ear, that's completely shutting off that sense
Well, yeah.
altogether. And so, yeah, I have to talk on speakerphone quite often because I do have that nervousness, and I try to tell people, and they're like, no, I need to call you on the phone. I don't want to. And I'm like, oh, okay, we can do this, but it's not, don't expect a long conversation. I am not going to sit there on the phone and be uncomfortable for 10, 15 minutes when we can sit here and do a Zoom for 3 minutes and get it done and over with. Um, I still try to respect them, but I mean, it's one of those that the phone calls are so difficult for me. They
Mm,
really are. But and I absolutely love uh what what you were saying about this, that and you're agreeing that, what, this is important, that we learn more about people. It's easier to respect people when we know what's going on. So why don't you tell us a little bit more about Net at Work?
sure. So if you go to our Net at Work website, I was looking. Oh, there you have it. You have the MSP product offering. So I work with our MSP Alliance program. So a Net at Work is a full service IT support company, but our bread and butter, what we do really, really well is line of business. So HR systems, ERP, CRM, anything in a line of business. And we represent a bunch of different publishers. We're the number one Sage reseller in North America, for example, and we help organizations thrive through line of business. So I work in the MSP Alliance program. So we are specifically working with managed service providers to help them expand their offerings and bring line of business. A lot of them do IT support, but they don't do line of business. So we are that arm for them and help them leverage it for their clients, and also provide a complete technology roadmap for their clients. So prior to this, I think Zach, I worked for a MSP myself, a managed service provider, for almost 10 years, and did a lot of work there with HR and diversity and inclusion, and it was a great experience. And then I started with Net at Work this year in January. So,
Yep. I and everything's going great. And here's that Women at Work networking that we were talking about.
yes, yeah, they have a fantastic program for women at work, and it's the first. I will say it's the first tech company that I worked in where women are a strong, strong part of the workforce. I want to say majority here, which is like amazing. And there's so many powerful women on staff here, and it's amazing. It's definitely an initiative that they have to bring more diversity into the workforce.
Yeah, I mean, you look down,
There
you've
you
got
go.
women,
Yeah.
yeah, women everywhere on the board, which is just fantastic. It just shows the strength. And again, it's just diverse, and it's showing that they really care about all kinds of people. It's not just, looking at one person saying, all right, this is what you've got to do. This is really trying to talk to as many people, getting as many, ideas rolling.
And I will
Um,
just say too, I think they really get it right here. I think that diversity and inclusion, because again, I find, sometimes it's a little bit feels forced. And here I think it's part of the makeup of the organization. I think they try to create it that way, but you feel it when you come in. It's more of just part of the makeup of the organization. And it's almost like it's very natural, which I think is what it should be. It feels so.
One of the other things that you founded was in this Together Roundtable. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So in this Together Roundtable is an amazing community. I think that's how you and I kind of connected. I know Mr. Z was instrumental and sort of put us together, but I'm sure it helped facilitate, I think. So we are a business networking community, I would say, more than group. And it was born out of an idea. My friend at the time, Luke Van Every, who we met through just networking connection. And he reached out to me at the start of the pandemic. It was right when things were beginning that March, and said, I want to do something to help people. I mean, and from day one, that was what our goal was to get people together to support each other and see how we could be stronger together. I mean, that was really from the first conversation, that was the goal. And I think it's one of the reasons that it's survived all these years. We have evolved. We started out as like a voice call, actually, and we evolved into this networking community. We meet every Tuesday on Zoom, all industries, all people, very informal, open networking group. And I think we've survived because I always said, it starts with the leadership. And I've been blessed to form many, many groups and organizations, and even a 501c3 from a very young age. And I would say the recurring theme, the ones that have survived, are when the leadership are there for the people and have the right, the egos get left behind and they have the right intentions. And it's shout out to Luke, and then PJ, I think, is right below that,
Yep.
who came on board really quickly. And they are just amazing people through and through, and have kept it going even when I can't always participate in the same way that I did when it started out. But we've built an amazing group of business professionals, and it's the best way to see. It's almost like an experience. I say every week is different. New people come, and so you got to be open to that. But if you're open to it, I think that come see for yourself is what I always like to say. It's a great place to practice your pitch. Come for really anything, business and personal, and see what you can give and get. So
There's not very often that we can say COVID brought something good.
yeah.
But it really opened up the opportunity for Zoom networking. When you compare Zoom to in-person networking, which one do you see as more like which do you prefer? And what would you like to see the other one do to maybe catch up?
Oh, fantastic question too. I'm very much an in-person person, and initially I loved, it was an adjustment for me to transfer to Zoom, and now I would say I have a combination of both, which I always think is best. I think in general in life, my philosophy is always, it's not good or bad, it's how you use it. So let's figure out how to make it work for you, and find the ways to capitalize on things. So I would say they both have, in my opinion, advantages and disadvantages. One of the opportunities, because I think a lot of people are very like Zoom jaded or don't necessarily love Zoom. And I always say there are a lot of opportunities with virtual meets, not just Zoom, but call. I actually am a big proponent. And again, I mentioned before, but in this Together Roundtable was at first a call. And the reason I loved that was because I knew that I was connecting with people that I might not have initially ran to connect with because I couldn't see them. And it's almost like, I don't know if anybody of your viewers have seen like Love is Blind, where people meet behind a wall, but it's almost like the same thing for networking, where like you really get to know people at a deeper level, I think, and you have to connect, based on who they are, not what you're seeing. And so, and again, and to say that we're not, immediately drawn to certain people because of their looks is just a lie. I mean, everybody, has some biases and chooses in some way, shape, or form, even subconsciously, who to connect with based on looks. So taking that element away is such an opportunity to meet people you might not have met otherwise. I think it also gives you a chance to connect with people geographically that you never have. I literally have friends all over the world. And I have people that I feel, I'm like getting chills, but I have people that I feel closer to, Mr. Z, for example, that I've
Yeah.
never met in person, to people that I've met in person. And I know that the day that we meet, whenever it happens, it's going to be like we're like civil, like we've bonded so strongly. And I think to have that kind of connection over Wi-Fi is phenomenal and amazing. And that when we do meet in person, because again, I think both is important, we're going to have that much stronger of a bond. And it's just like, it's such an amazing thing. But I also think that you get certain insights into a person on Zoom, let's say, that you can't necessarily get when they come. Because when you go to a networking event, right, it's like almost like going to a date. Like you're getting all dressed, you're putting on your best face, hopefully, in some way, shape, or form, it's not really you. Whereas on a Zoom, I think that seeing people's backgrounds, the kids, the dogs, the room, it tells you something about them. And I think that that's information that you can use to connect with them at a deeper level. So I kind of like it. I think people kind of let their guard down more. It gives you a chance to connect more authentically, and who's not here for that? So I think that's the advantages. That being said, nothing like an in-person. And I think sometimes taking the time to meet people, I've always been, obviously relationships are at my core, and that's been a big part of my job throughout. And I'll be first to run, on site, I call it, or like I miss kind of going to clients. I would always grab an opportunity to do that. And that's what I'll be doing actually later on this year, is doing a lot of traveling to our partner sites, because I think there's nothing like being in a room and connecting in person too. So I think they're both great, and they both have certain strengths and potential challenges. And if you can utilize some form of both, or whichever one you kind of have to do in quotes, or like you can find a way to,
Yeah.
make it work for you and be successful. So,
I completely agree. I loved doing the in-person thing. My only problem with the in-person thing are two things. I live in a smaller community. So in-person was really not, it was the same people over and over and over again. And when you were talking about in this Together Roundtable, you have new people joining you all the time. And so that's one of the reasons why I really love the virtual. And then of course, the other the most important thing about virtual is I would have never met you. I would have
Yeah.
never met Z, at least not for years to come until, uh, yeah, possibly when, community pay it forward makes it international. And if community pay it forward doesn't work, then I'm going to get into making those bubble wrap clothing so I can stop hurting myself. But, and I think that the worst thing that you can do is just quit networking. I mean, networking, I think that there's a lot of people who depend on it a little too much, and then some that just don't utilize it at all.
That's a great point.
And I
That's
don't
a great
understand
point.
how somebody cannot utilize it at all, you
That's such a
know?
good point. They
So
say what's the best time to start networking is yesterday. Second best time today. I'm like a
today,
big
yep.
so absolutely. And also just as far as connecting with people, because this is we were meant started out with diversity and inclusion and all that. Just to say, I think it would be remiss not to mention that, sometimes let's say parents with kids or
Mhm.
caregivers are,
Yeah.
more able to access a Zoom meeting than an in-person. So, and also, with time differences, geographical locations, people's schedules, I think again, that's why I think options are so important. And again, asking questions and giving people a way to, I say, work harder, work smarter, but in a way that works for them. And I think that's also one of the positive changes that came out of COVID is the workplace has changed completely. And yes, I miss certain elements of the old workplace, but I think part of the beauty of what we have now is this awareness of let's let people work in the way that works best for them. And again, I think there's a balance, of course, and you need to make money. Assuming all that's there, why shouldn't we let people work the timings and the way that they want to so that they can have their family or be able to provide and also like live meaningfully and make money? So I think that they don't have to be in contradiction. So just wanted to point that out because I think, and disability wise too, giving people that option to connect how they are able to
Yeah,
is
and
important.
as a solopreneur, the other thing about this is that as soon as you and I are done, I can hop onto another
There you
meeting.
go.
Give me 10 minutes to catch my bearings, and then I can hop on another meeting. And so
Exactly.
it can be a lot more productive. If I have to drive to Fort Collins, that's about 45 minutes there, 45 minutes back. And then do something to possibly have to go to Loveland or Windsor or something. So, the time wise, for me, it's been a lot better. I do miss a lot of the in-person meetings. And I do think that we lost a lot with that, just getting out and building on those relationships and friendships. I mean, I've still got some of my very best friends are people I met at some of those meetings. But and I still have the conversations with them. But you and I are, and thank you so very much for accepting this challenge to come with me. You may not be able to be at every one of our episodes, but we're going to try to make sure that you're at a lot of them. But we are going to start this because we really want to learn like the challenges that women face, the risks, the rewards, the opportunities. And as we were talking about, some of the differences that we may not know and we can be made aware of, because I think that there's a misconception a lot of times that well, we need to placate, or not placate, I guess is the wrong word, but we need to kind of relax the rules a little bit for women because they got to take care of the families, when a lot of times now dad stepping in to take care of the families a little bit more. It's not 1950s Leave It to Beaver style where mom's family, dad's work. That's not what we're doing anymore. I think to make families work, they both need to, work together to do that. And I think that's something important that we need to,
That's also a great point.
discuss.
Yeah. Yeah. And many families, it's 50-50, right? So you're right. But see, that's another point, giving a voice to the male caregivers who I don't know how they feel, but they may be feeling like, wait, what about us? So,
Yeah,
yeah.
and look, there's changes that have come along that I see as good for men, but then of course I see a lot of the things that women are still in a lot of places not paid equally, and that floors me. I'll
Yeah.
never ever understand that. I don't care who you are. If you're working harder than I am, you deserve more than I got. That's
I
it.
have experienced this too. And again,
Yeah.
you don't believe it, but these are problems, and to deny them is just denying reality. So that's a good point. Yeah.
And I will never deny them. But what I'd like for us to do with this series is figure out how we can fix that. I'm Sabrina Morris. Do you happen to know her? Okay. I'm going to have to introduce you to Sabrina. But Sabrina and I were talking at one point in time, and she was she joined an organization where they were not as receptive to women as they should have been. And when she walked into a meeting, her friends knew that she was in for trouble. Her male counterparts knew that she was in for trouble. And when she walked in there, whatever happened. She ended up, showing them that she could do the job. But I asked her a simple question, and she said, I never even thought of that. And the question was, why didn't your friends warn you? Why didn't your friends do something about it? Why didn't they stand up in unity and say, hey, no, you're not going to treat them different because they're built a little different. We are humans. We're equal. If I can do it, you can do it. That's it. So I'd like to work together with you, and I appreciate you taking this on, allowing us to come up with the way that we can work together. And I am looking forward to any female who would like to come on and talk about this. Let's have a conversation. Let's talk about some of the problems, some of the directions, some of the great things that you've been able to do in your workplace. If you look right above Esther's head, you're going to see a QR code. That's how you can join this podcast, and you can say, hey, you know what? I would like to tell you our story. We want to hear it. That's why we're starting this show. So please go onto that QR code, scan it, and let's have a meeting. We'll get you in here. We'll talk, and we'll have a lot of fun. Look, this is going to be a lighthearted, but it's going to be a serious show. This is something that I think we need. Look, we got to know each other to work with each other.
Love it.
Each of us is different. So, and then, Esther, did you have anything else that you wanted to bring up before we?
No, I'm really excited about this. Thank you for having me. And I'm sure we'll have more exciting conversations like this one. So that's a little teaser. We'll leave the rest for another time. But I'm really excited about this. And like you said, it's an important topic. And the more we talk about it, the more likely it is that we'll make a difference. So with everybody who's going to be involved, we'll do it together. So I'm excited. Thank you for hosting, Zach.
Well, my dear, again, if it wasn't for the virtual networking, I would not know you right now. So I'm going to say virtual one, in person. So I'm gonna go there. But thank you so very much for joining us.
Thank you.
And I look forward to our next time we meet.
Likewise. Thank you so much, Zach.
I actually kind of have to laugh at that last video. I was looking at that, and I created that video a while back, and you can tell because there were like three different logos for Community Dare to Care, and so and none of them are the current logo to Community Dare to Care. So speaking of Community Dare to Care, folks, we need your help. Look, it's a free to all outreach. That's what it is. That's the purpose. That's the, that's what we want it to be. My wife and I run Community Dare to Care to try to help as many people in difficult situations as we can. And we just, with this outreach, we give away free clothing, free food, free housewares. If people bring stuff to us, we give it away. So whatever we get, we give it away. We have school supplies, stuff like this. We ask people to, instead of going to some of these larger thrift stores, if they've got clothing that they want to see on the backs of those who need it, we ask for it and we take and we turn it around. We've been lucky enough to give away like tons of kids stuff, and we just couldn't thank the community as responsive as they've been in our mission to try to help others. Community Dare to Care was built on the philosophy that we are we're from the community to the community for the betterment of the community. So please, we ask if you can help us, if you can donate and make sure that we can continue to do what we do. The QR code you see above, that's how you can support us in the Community Dare to Care or Community Pay It Forward program, by simply shopping with any of our partners. If you want to turn in your receipt and support us, right there's how to do it. This is the only form that we have that you will see a checkout. Okay, because this is the only form in the program that we accept cash donations. We do not accept cash donations for any other program, for none of them. We won't accept cash donations for families. We won't accept cash donations from anyone else. We ask you to contact them to make that transaction go. We don't want to have any part in that. All we want are your receipts from closed transactions with our partners. So, but this one, you will see that. And we ask if you can make a $5, $10, $15 donation, whatever it is. We ask you for, we thank you for doing that and appreciate it. Esther is one who she has made a donation, and I want to thank her publicly for doing that, for helping us out, and keeping our free outreach available for everyone. I want to welcome Legacy Builders Foundation to our IMpACT channel sponsors. Mr. Robert Heath Sr., who I was hoping to get to play his interview today, but we had a great interview with two lovely ladies, Jonni from Differently Abled Entertainment and Jennifer from Dignify Dementia. And it just didn't work out to where we could get Robert's interview in. I don't apologize for it. I'm proud that it went this way, but we are having a special edition of Community IMpACT on Friday morning. Friday morning, we will be talking to a great friend of the program, Stephanie from Aziza Project. Right now, they have a program going on with Pampered Chef. They've got a Pampered Chef party going on. And if you would like to support the Aziza Project through Pampered Chef, and I'll put this in the chat so you can actually click on the link, but go to this link, and if you make any purchase with this Pampered Chef party, you will be supporting the Aziza Project. The Aziza Project works really hard to help women with very, very difficult and very complex gynecological issues. So Stephanie will be joining me on Friday at 11 a.m. East. That's 11 a.m. East. Then we will be talking to Robert, our brand new sponsor. We're also going to be talking to we mentioned him with Dignify Dementia earlier today, with Safely Back Home. We're going to be talking to them about their program. And then I'm probably going to try to set up for later on in the year a combined, maybe even next year when it comes to in March, when it's brain injury, and we'll get Jennifer with Dignified Dementia and Safely Back Home. We'll get them together so people can see some of the wonderful things that small nonprofits are doing in the community to support people. Dementia is unfortunately on the rise. There's a lot of problems that people have to deal with, and being able to talk to them is being able to talk to anybody is a great way to go. I also want to welcome in a couple more of our mission partners who have joined us, who we are trying to raise money for through the program. We've got Arizona Broken Arrow Wranglers, a brand new organization. We talked to her on Monday. This is an organization that helps people who feel like they have been left behind, healing or suffering with PTSD, or it's an equine therapy plus so much more. Okay, it's just, there is a ton more that they do. Look, you can go through all of, and we are trying to streamline it right now, so please bear with us as I am trying to get this done. But arts and wellness, cervical cancer, the Aziza Project, as we've mentioned, they've got their program going. Arizona Broken Arrow Wranglers and Shine His Light LLC. Chris P's Pig Rescue. That's right. We've got a pig rescue that we're trying to help. Christ Clinic in Fort Collins, free clinic, free medical clinic for all. Wonderful program. Combat Recovery Foundation. Dating Tips by Meg. She's been on the show. Wonderful, wonderful lady who's got this started because of experience she's had. Differently Abled Entertainment. We just talked to Joni just a little bit ago. Dignified Dementia. We just talked to Jennifer a little bit earlier this evening. Hope Advanced in Colorado Springs. The Human Contract Foundation. I love this. This is a program where all they're asking you to do is agree to treat other people with the dignity and respect they deserve. Hydro with Hope. You guys have seen me on Jeff's show. I was just on Jeff's show on the 2nd. You've seen Jeff on my show. Love the guy. So proud to be connected with him. Independent Brothers MC Mission Work. You see Motorcycle Club and you think, oh no, but no, these guys are good. They do good in their communities. So all of them, you will see their QR code right there. That QR code takes you to their link. Their link, all you have to do is attach a receipt from any of our partners, and that becomes a donation. It's that simple. We'd like to welcome CARES Foundation. CARES Foundation is going to be one of our guests next week. You're going to find out about them. This is a support group for people who, to try to keep people from drinking or intoxicated driving. This is a story. I'm going to tell you right now, it's a hard story to listen to. Todd lost his mom and his sister in an accident in 1974. He was 3 years old. Todd and I are the same age. And he built CARES Foundation. And when you listen to the story behind the K in the CARES Foundation, it just about breaks your heart, but it tells you how important this mission is to him. The Lighthouse of Denver. What a wonderful, wonderful idea this is. I cannot wait to get them on and talk a little more about this. They're trying to be the pre-foster home stop, to where the kids aren't just rushed from their house to a foster home. That's doomed for failure, folks. It's doomed for failure. It's hard on the kid. It's hard on the foster family. The Lighthouse of Denver has a better idea that they're going to be trying something new. Please support them if you can. Lori Landine Foundation. Love this lady in Florida. She's one of them that I've got to meet in person. Lovely, lovely, lovely person. She's tiny though, so which just makes her even cuter. Marie Barney Boston. Anybody who knows me knows how much I love this lady. I talk all the time about John with Martyred Angels Foundation. Lost their son Bladen at the age of 3 to a drowning accident. Sad, sad story. Wonderful organization. Great family. Teresa, John, and Raven. I can't say enough great things about them. Once upon a time, this is where arts and business come together to teach skills that are needed. Price of Freedom Foundation. Price of Freedom Foundation creates books and tells the stories of people who lose their life in service for our country. Project Die Hard, another wonderful organization. Brian is out of the hospital. He's doing better. I am so happy to hear this. Safely Back Home. We just talked about this. They create patches for people who are dealing with dementia or maybe Alzheimer's or autism. We want to welcome them to the group. Thunder Dancers, teaching kids dance in Africa to give them the respect and the needed love that they feel. Vet Cares Inc., another program that just is trying to make sure our veterans are taken care of. Bart, miss you, brother. I haven't talked to you in a while. I think I'm going to remedy that this week. Get back with you. He means everything to me. Love the man, love veterans, honoring veterans. Zach's Legacy Childhood Cancer Fund. This helps mom and dad pay for bills that when their kid has cancer, that are non-medical bills, and Zeta's Healthy Beginnings. That's just a few of the organizations that we are working to support here at Community Pay It Forward. Please check out the website, check out what we do, check out how to support any of these people who are needed. Please make sure you love somebody out there, because somebody out here loves you. Look, if you're not helping somebody, you're hurting everyone. Let's get together. Let's come together and make sure that nobody has to go it alone. Please join us next week when we have Les Simpson. He's going to be joining us next week. And until Friday at 11 a.m. East, we're going to have a special show talking to Stephanie with the Aziza Project and talking about an event that they have. Thank you very much, folks. Have a great weekend. Well, until Friday, or week, I guess, until Friday. I'll talk to you soon.
The way you want to hold the heart. Sunset Boulevard. Bring me here, 'cause it's not quite clear to be a part of Sunset Boulevard.